All right. Apparently we're live. Let's
We live.
see. Yeah, that's what it
Well,
says up there in the corner. We'll start seeing pretty soon when people popping in. I know I didn't realize Ron from Garage Aquatics is live right now. But and I know
oh
a
yeah.
lot of people are over there, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. I
It's
didn't.
weird. I didn't. Well, they used to go a lot earlier. I think they decided to change their time a little bit later. It used to be there was nobody going on now, but it is what it is.
It's getting tight. A lot of people who are into that. Oh, we gotta not step on toes. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Well, that was part of that conversation I was having with the gentleman that I told you earlier. Is that he goes, I'm looking for a time slot. I said, dude, don't worry about it. That
Go.
if you're never gonna find
Yeah.
all the
There's
prime
always,
spots are pretty much taken up, and it's going to be nearly impossible for you not to step on somebody. Don't let that be the thing that holds you back. At the end of the
yeah.
day, people make a choice. They
Yeah.
they choose whether they want to watch your stuff or not. It's
Yeah.
just that simple.
So what
Yeah.
they gotta do is on their whatchamacallit, on their YouTube analytics, it says when their viewers are more likely to be on. And
Oh,
they
I
got
didn't
to
know that.
go. Yeah, yeah. You got there's a metric that says, oh, my viewers on this date, they're normally on, prime time this time. So they just need to do whatever's best for their channel. Hey, what's up, everybody in the chat?
All right, let me see who's up. Let's see. It looks like we've got the first one in was Uncle Smiley. Beto's here with us. Brandon Bare Bottoms. CC Aquatics, and I know they'll start trickling in
Yeah,
little by little, uh, but uh, no, like I was telling you, it's been interesting because I guess at a certain point after being in the hobby for a while, you kind of change your opinion on things or your take on things or how you do things. But I think that's kind of normal with life in general,
yeah,
the
it
more
is. But I find that it's hard for people to admit that because they're
uh-huh.
on record. They're on record saying this sucks, or this is great, this is great. And then, 2 years later, it's like, oh, I'm doing this now. And, somebody's gonna be like, hey, hold up, buddy. I remember you saying. So yeah, you have it's people are reluctant to say they're wrong in general,
Y
you know.
yeah, well, maybe and yeah, I guess that's the fear that they might be thought of making a mistake, but
Mhm.
shit, this hobby is based on mistakes. I mean, we make mistakes in this hobby all the freaking time.
I think so. As far as mistakes go, it's constantly changing. Even the science. Well, I'm beyond. I don't think the core science changes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Unless somebody finds something that nobody ever heard about, I don't know anything. The nitrogen cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the nitrogen goes the cycle of, you can go
Yeah,
about, achieving that in different ways, but it's still at the end of the day, it's that process.
yeah. But as far as people changing up their general, their general, their general views on fish keeping, or how they keep fish, or how they feel about certain people who in fish keeping, or how they feel about certain, like I remember you, in
Yeah.
fact, we'll talk about Mexicali and his backpedaling ass. Let's talk about Mexicali.
All right.
Mexicali. This time last year, how did you feel about aquascaping?
I think
Well,
aquascaping is something that I've always enjoyed.
yeah, but you always said that I'd like to see what it looks like in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah,
And now,
in the long run.
yeah,
Well, here and I guess just to clarify, a lot of there's a certain aquascape
I know what you're talking about.
that
You're talking
is
about competition.
sustainable. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
competition is
sustainable
not.
long term, but the competition stuff is really meant to
Yeah,
capture a moment in time. That's
yeah,
really what you're that's
yeah,
and those but that's the thing though. You got to understand that that's a different process. That's a
I
different
yeah,
thing.
I know, but here we are in
Yep.
2025, and you're downgrading, and you're going more for quality instead of quantity.
I think it's an accommodation to lifestyle. Really, that's what it really boils
Yeah,
down to. Not that I mean, I wasn't having any real issues with
no.
my current setup, but it was set up for something different, and that's where the change came.
Well,
Because
go ahead, go
because
ahead.
initially when I started, okay, I started out like everybody else. You get that
Yeah,
one tank, right?
yep,
You get that one tank. In my case, I got the one tank. It was my first attempt at trying to do some aquascaping. Obviously, you're never going to achieve the levels that are out there in competition, but that's okay because you can still have a nicely scaped tank that is functional,
yeah, yeah,
that is more of a display. And I think
yeah.
that's really that's the correction that I need to make
Mhm.
is I want to focus more on displays.
Display,
Whereas my
sustainable display,
yeah, because my current setup was geared towards potentially being a side hustle business.
mass amounts, mass
Yeah.
fish. How many
You know,
fish can I fit in here? Yeah,
yeah. But after I kind of put the cart in front of the horse, I hadn't really done I had done some research, but not rational research,
uh-huh.
not really hit, boots on the ground. I was kind of letting myself get influenced by what people locally supposedly were asking for, but it's like all businesses, and I hear this a lot with even with mom and pop shops and stuff like that, where you start gearing your business to try to cater to a certain customer base, but they don't come through with it. How many times do you hear the story of where a fish store buys a certain specific species of fish because
Yep,
I really want these. They
yep,
come in and they ghost. They
yep. They never
disappear.
come back. Yeah,
And that's kind of what was happening here is like, people are like, yeah, I want to have access to different fish and plants. And I started doing a little bit of a business, and yeah, you do have the initial customers, but then my market is definitely too small because it gets oversaturated real quick, and everybody in our community is trying to do the same thing of breeding and selling.
yeah,
So because there's nobody else doing it. And I
yeah,
think that becomes where, even if you were to bring in like a, a specific line of my case, live bears, guppies, right? And they're kind of like really neat. Well, the problem is I'm gonna have 20 people buy them. Well, the problem is out of those 20, 10 of them are going to want to reproduce them and resell them. So
yep,
it doesn't take very long before that market, everybody has them, and then nobody else wants them, and you're sitting there
yeah,
with a
yeah. A whole
bunch of
bunch of
fish.
guppy. Yeah, I don't know
Uh,
what to do.
yeah, and it wouldn't be so much of a problem if even if it was only an hour away where I could go find a store and offload them, but I got to drive 3.5 hours one way or the other.
So Beto says, I wish I was around during the Lake Tanganyika wagon, as in the
Oh
Lake Tanganyika bandwagon.
yeah,
There really wasn't ever a Lake Tanganyika bandwagon when you had mass amounts of people, all because they're expensive as hell. That's
yeah.
it's so
That's the other thing.
expensive.
It's the reality is a lot of these like cool or rare stuff are are really more um like diehard hobbyists that are going to buy them because
Yeah,
they know what they are.
yeah,
But your 80% of your consumer base is the new, the casual is the casual hobbyist, the one
yeah.
that they just want a tank because it looks cool. It says,
Mhm.
"Hey, Mix Kelly, I go out of different stuff for people and don't get next minute." Yeah, that's one of the that's a real issue. I'm pretty sure even Gabriel can attest to that because he just showed up. But it's always that challenge, which is why I see that a lot of the successful businesses resort to
Bread and
doing
butter.
doing online too. If you want to do more of the rare
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
more of the specific,
yeah, yeah,
you have to do it online.
yeah,
And for me, I didn't want to deal with the shipping. I tried it a couple of times. I was successful in most parts. I sent some fish, a group of like 8 angelfish to June, and they died. And I was like, oh man, that's going to be a problem. So it's hit or miss in reality when it comes to shipping stuff. And
There's definitely
and
an
this
art to it, though. Shipping,
yeah,
there's an art to it.
yeah, and the reality is I didn't want to deal with the shipping side of it. That's why
Yeah,
I was trying to do it here locally.
yeah,
But
that's good for a 6 pack here and there.
yeah, yeah, it's just it wasn't I was finding it to be more of a dread than an enjoyment. So I was like, it wasn't a real hard convincing push for my wife to go, why don't you just, change it? Instead of because she was saying it's starting to look too many, like a hoarder. And in reality, yeah,
Yeah,
if because people would come and ask, oh, are you selling fish? It's like, well, not really. Then why do you have so many tanks? And it's kind of like, yeah, why
but
do I have so many tanks?
so so I brought that up one time, a long time ago, years ago, about how come nobody ever calls any keepers out on hoarding?
Yeah,
Because I'm be honest with you. I'm be honest with you, and people might get upset with me. I've seen some of the fish rooms, and they are hoarders. Now, I'm not talking about people who have a lot of fish and can maintain all those fish, all those aquariums at the level that they're supposed to be at. I'm talking about the people who has so many tanks that you can see, oh, this one's on the floor, it only got that much water in it, or it's just overgrown with algae, and they just can't keep up with the maintenance of all those aquariums. No, see, Craig, you're not a hoarder because you can keep up with the maintenance of all your aquariums. When you can't keep up with the maintenance and they start looking dingy and stuff like that, um, where you can tell those fish can't be in the best of health, because there's so many tanks. But nobody ever says, "Hey, man, you might want to back off of them tanks a little bit. You're having trouble keeping up with it."
yeah.
But in fact, we encourage get more tanks. We encourage hoarding.
Well, the thing is, and I think I would have continued down that track.
If
Um,
it wasn't for your wife,
well, not only that, it wasn't because the garage just gets way too hot,
yeah,
and I personally don't feel like spending $2,500 for a hobby because that's at the end of the day, and I know you told me the units are a lot cheaper and stuff like that, but if I'm not gonna do any, I'm not gonna do any of that shit. I don't like messing around with electricity. Period.
yeah,
And I know I'm not gonna go buy a specific drill bit to be able to drill through the cinder blocks for a one-time use.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, you talking
uh,
about you talking about the mini splits?
the mini split, and so it's like, I mean, it's not that I
You could you could
it's
rent
not
it,
that
by
I
the way.
can't afford it. It's just how seriously do am I about you know is
Yeah,
my hobby? Do I really want to invest that money where I could use it for something else?
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
No,
that's kind of the point where I was like,
no,
that's
I totally
the
get.
that's the rationalization that I'm trying to get around is does it really justify having to spend that much money for a hobby? And I was like, hey, ¿qué onda, MB? ¿Cómo estás? Um, and so it's kind of like, God, I could I could go back to what I originally like. And even now, originally I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna keep all the real big tanks, right? I'm gonna keep my 75, I'm gonna keep the 125. I was definitely gonna get rid of the 150 because that's a
Those are hard to get
weird
back, though.
those are weird um like a profile on it. It makes it real hard to do maintenance because of the way it's built. It has this really thick because it's acrylic, it's not an open top. So you
The
only have
hex?
these
You talking
little
about the
portals.
hexagon? Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the 150 that I have, the acrylic.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's really tall. It's like 30 inches tall. So it's just I dread that tank. I don't like doing maintenance on it. One, it's acrylic, so you got to be careful when you
Yeah,
start
would you
shaking
scratch
the
it?
yeah because it scratches real easy. Um, unless you stay on top of it and every day you're going through
See,
with a little
a
algae
tank
strip.
a tank like that, like for me, if it was me, I agree with you. I wouldn't want to set that up because of the top. But I would be like, you know what? This would be great on the floor as a grow out. That's it.
Mhm.
Just
Yep.
hey,
Well, but here's the thing though. If I'm going to do that, I rather do the Rubbermaid totes that are the
Yeah,
same volume and way easier to
yeah,
move around because they're
yeah,
lighter. They're
yeah.
lighter. Open top, you can have a lot of access to
Mhm.
it. You know, I like those even more because it's smaller profile, so you got more water volume instead of vertical water volume. So if you're trying to grow out fish, from what I've gathered, you're it doesn't really matter how much vertical volume you have. It's more of how much horizontal volume you have. That'll
Your
make fish
footprint,
grow quicker.
the footprint. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You want wider instead of taller. That's
yeah.
really what you want for grow ups.
But as far as your because I've seen your channel grow, I've seen your fish room grow, and that's the natural progression for a lot of people. You know, you start out with one tank and then another one, and then you mess around and get a fish accidentally breed on you.
Yeah,
Accidentally. And you're like, oh snap, I could breed fish. What else I'm gonna breed? Then you start getting into breeding more fish. And I think this whole the whole low tech natural aquarium thing, that's also a what's the word I'm looking for? It's what is it when somebody's in drinking is an alcoholic and you try and give them alcohol?
denial. Oh,
No, no. Like I'm the person like, ah, you know what, don't worry about that shit.
instigator,
Not an instigator.
an
It's
enabler.
called enabler. Yeah, enabler. So I feel like the idea of all I gotta do is put dirt and plants and that's it, and the fish will live. That enabled a lot of people to get a lot more aquariums that they would have normally not got because they didn't have to spend no money on it. You know what I mean? They just put up a tank. They don't have to change water. They don't have
Well,
to do nothing. They don't have to put a filter. No nothing. That
yeah, and for me, what it is I've kind of really liked the idea of being indoors when I do my stuff, instead of having to be out in the garage. Winter is
yeah,
not that bad. That's the thing though. That's where that I guess that pool is because in the winter it's actually very pleasant to be
yeah,
in my garage because of where I live.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
get very
Same thing.
cold, you
Same thing.
know. But in the summer, like right now, there's no freaking way I'm gonna be in there. It's like 100 degrees. It's about 112 outside. In the garage, it's about 100 probably. And then
Mhm.
I have open tops. I have to. I can't put lids in those tanks or I'm gonna boil the fish. So
Yeah.
you can imagine the humidity inside the garage right now. And it's kind of like
Mhm.
there's no way in hell I'm gonna sit here with electronic equipment and try to sit here and then my streams are usually an hour or more. So am I gonna want to sit there for an hour or
Yeah, and
more
just
and
sweat and just get swamp ass.
what I have been looking as possibly an alternative,
You'd be
and
all the
it,
humidity in your Karachi.
I've been looking at these little portable units, but that shit can't run the entire fish room. What I was thinking is, all right, if
Spot
I have
coolers,
to be in
yeah. Spot
what?
coolers thing. They're big. Spot
Oh,
coolers. They call spot coolers. Some of them are 4 feet tall, and
oh no, no,
they will
not
do good.
those. I'm talking about the little mobile single room units that they sell you with the vent out the window.
Yeah, they're
Where
called spot coolers. Yeah, but some of
okay.
them are 4 feet tall. They make ones that are 4 feet tall. Like I've
Well,
put
yeah,
them.
but you start looking at those and you're back to do you
You
want to
might as
spend
well. Yeah,
over
you might as well
yeah,
just get one put in.
yeah. And so but I've seen them like they go up on marketplace, but that's the thing though. It's a gamble. It's a
Yeah,
50-50, right?
yeah.
You could get one that works fine, no problem. Um, or you can get one that you just threw away $100 because that's what they run about. $100 is what I've seen them. I think brand new, you can find them for about 250. I don't have a problem with spending that much. And what I was thinking is, all right, if I have to do a live stream, then I'll just turn that sucker on and point it towards me. And
Yeah,
then when I'm done, I'll turn it off and get out.
yeah.
Uh,
So,
but but again, it's just kind of like, do I really want to go through all that trouble? I think really what it is just kind of a change in how I want to do my hobby now. Because I don't
yeah,
now it's to the point where I don't see the need to have that many tanks. I mean,
no.
I was keeping fish that were just like whatever in a lot of those tanks just to keep them cycled, to be honest.
What's up, raisin fish?
Hey,
Yeah,
Scotty. you know,
just to keep them around. Yeah,
yeah, just to keep them. Cinnamon came in. Cheryl, thank you for joining us. Let's see who else has been creeping in here. We have Beto, Brandon,
a lot of
Gabriel,
people. Yep.
Jose, Audra, Craig, uh, okay, I always get this wrong. It's not. It's Asia. No, Asaya. No.
Who you
Um,
talking?
it's Asia's. No, it's not Asaya. Asaya, I think it is her
Who you
name. The
talking
way
about?
you pronounce it. She's here in the chat. Uh,
Well, what she go by?
that's her
I said,
name.
oh,
I
that's the
just
name. Oh, I didn't see her.
you see I always think it says Asia, but it's
Uh-huh.
not. I thought it was
Ah,
just Asia spelled differently, but it actually has a
uh-huh.
different phonetics pronunciation, and I always butcher it. I can never get it right.
So speaking of change, just to change the subject up a little bit, um, me being, on YouTube for so long, another aspect of
Asia.
change that I see people do all the time, and this is not the creators. It's the people who are in the chats and stuff like that, the viewers.
Yeah.
I watch them get into aquariums that they really shouldn't get into. But so and so on YouTube did. I'm gonna do it too. You know what I mean? And you talk to them and you realize, bro, like, why are you keeping these fish? Because you seem to not like these fish, or
Yeah.
you seem to not. You seem to really like this other fish, but for the sake of keeping up with the Joneses, you got a big old tank full of shrimp, and you really like African cichlids. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I see that happen all the time, and unfortunately, I think it goes on way too long before they get it in their mind. Yeah, maybe I'm just gonna go with that maybe unpopular fish.
Yeah, I do see where content creators get into the trap of chasing trends.
Yeah,
And that's what I consider is chasing trends.
yeah,
Um, it's just I think what it is if you have a different idea of what you're trying to accomplish with your channel, 'cause, some people legitimately want to blow up. They want to be the next big content creator on there, and so they want to follow these trends that some of those channels are doing. You know, at the end of the day, it is a choice, but there's nothing
yeah.
wrong with teaching your idea about it. Uh, what does Mary Oliver say? My abuelito, remember I am the unspoiled one. Funky. Mary's always coming up with these off the wall comments.
What's up, man? Is
And
this the regular phone? That's my regular phone. Yeah. You looking for the other phone? Are you online? Yeah, Mexican. Yeah. I need to what?
she doesn't want to go across this camera.
Yeah. What do you need, babe?
I need to see the make the IN number of your phone.
If I do it now, then it's gonna cut off.
It's gonna cut off.
Yeah, I can't do it
Well,
now.
hey,
Do you know the
if you
name of
need to
your
do that,
phone?
take a break for a minute. I'll hold this.
Can I wait? Can I wait a little bit? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get off. I'll come back on.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no
I'll get off.
problem.
I'll come back on.
Let me go ahead and acknowledge some of the people that are joining us. Um, so Mr. G, thank you. Slam dunk the funk. Yeah, he just got called out for a minute. We got Craig, Jose, Shirley, Cinnamon Girl, Mary Oliver. Okay, did I miss anybody? Beto's here, G&G, Audra. Well, anyways, what we were talking about is just the changes in general, what the hobby is, and it's I guess it's just, but it's no different than in life. We're all going to go through changes and stuff like that, and but what I was telling Funk, what I would tell him is like, why is accepting this change been kind of harder than it should be, really, because it makes more sense to do what I want to do. And I think part of it that he kept telling me is because because of social media. As a content creator, you're on video saying you're doing this, you're doing that, and then all of a sudden you switch gears, and so. But I don't really think. I think unconsciously. Oh, my words can't get them around. But uh, you it's kind of that's kind of been the thing Chris, because I went through this whole year of building up the fish room, and then a year later, it's downsizing. Um, but I guess when I was building it, like I said, I had that idea that I was going to be able to do a side business out of it. That has not really changed, but I think I got into it way too soon. And the reason I say that is because right now my current schedule does not really allow me to have any consistency. That's the reason why you guys always see my live streams uh at different dates, different times, you know, and the big gaps in between live streams or videos and stuff like that. It's just because my work schedule, it's hard to keep up with. And I'm not 20 anymore, and I notice that the older I get, the harder it is to bounce back from switching out from going from nights to swings to mornings, and then turning around and doing the whole thing again. And I'm if it wasn't because I have to change gears every week, it probably wouldn't be so bad. If we had more of a consistent, they play all the time. I had to. I have to admit, though, that my electric blue cars are full person. Yeah, they are. Uh, if it wasn't because I've worked within the same company where I had to work graveyards, but we worked 3 months at a time. I noticed that was a little bit easier to adjust, even though working graveyards is the pits, because you're trying to get your system to adapt to something that's not really normal. But at least there was a consistency. For 3 months, you knew how to adapt to that. Whereas right now, my current schedule is I work 7 days, I'm off a couple, and then come right back, and then I have to switch that, and then work 7 days, and then switch it. And I noticed that the recovery, especially coming off of graves, like right now I'm working graveyards. I know when I come off on Thursday morning, my whole sleeping cycle is messed up, and it takes forever to readjust now. And it almost takes the 4 days that I'm off to get back into a normal sleeping pattern. But so, but so that's kind of why I think I got a little bit ahead of myself by setting that up. What's up, dude?
Hey, sorry about that. We're switching
No, you're
over
good.
electrical companies and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah, for the move.
yeah,
Talking about
yeah,
changes.
yeah. So and somebody asked me yesterday on the live stream yesterday. I don't feel like I got it. I got the answer correct. Um, about how I'm gonna do the new fish room. Am I gonna put a bunch of tanks up there? And no, I'm not. Like, no, I did the whole tank drawdown thing, and I love it. I love it. I would suggest that a lot of people out there probably think about backing off of as many tanks as you have. You'd be surprised um, how much you enjoy the aquariums when there's less of them. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
was
I think the only I guess, if you want to call it fear or insecurity or whatever, was as a content creator that you go, oh well, I'm going to use all these tanks because it's going to generate all this content, and I'm going to be doing all this stuff all the time. Well,
and
the
that's
reality
true.
is, it's no more content. Yeah,
That's true to a fact. I mean,
uh,
that's true to
for
a
me,
point. To a point, it's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
But
For me, it just really,
yeah,
it didn't change that much, because the output and the consistency of doing stuff was no different than when before I had the fish room.
and that's it right there. Like you got all the tanks. You was like, oh, I'll do a video on this. I'll do a video on this. I'll do a video on this. And then you just don't get around to it, and these tanks are just sitting there, and you're like, I meant to do a video about this tank that I really don't care about too much, but as far as a content creator, I worry about the fact, because it is true, like in this fish genre, if you look at all the content creators in the fish tube, they all have one thing in common: a buttload of fish that they have.
Hmm.
So, you as a smaller content creator, be like, oh, I gotta do that. And then, you know, they can't keep up with it. It's too expensive to keep up with, so you have problems. Then after you spend all that money and you ain't getting nothing back on your investment, because that thing takes years to get the subs and the views, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
frustrated.
this comment that the whole breeding stuff, this is what I quickly learned is that yeah, you build a fish room because you wanna breed stuff, and that's usually all right. If like when you were doing the angelfish, that's all you were really breeding is
That's
angelfish.
it. That was it. Yeah.
The problem is when you want to breed more than one species, you quickly start realizing that you need a lot more tanks than you thought you needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, it just, it can get overwhelming if you're not careful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that goes to another thing with the new fish room. I think now it's on the back burner. It's a 50-50, maybe 60-40 that I'm gonna do it. Breed some angels because now I have the room and the time. But to be honest with you, that you as you know, breeding angels it turns into a thing, and I don't really want to. So if I do it, it's going to be starting out on a very small scale. A lot of fry are going to get eaten,
Yeah.
you know, um, and we'll see what happens from there. But um, I think I really got to check myself with this new fish room because I don't want to get into that situation where I got too many tanks and I'm just spending more tanks. I don't want to. So with all the tanks I have now is what I'm going to set up. I think I only have to buy 2 tanks, and that's just for display purposes.
Mm.
That's just for my YouTube display video making purposes. And they're gonna have one fish in it per. But but I think I've been around long enough to know who I am as a fish keeper to this point. I'm sure, in another 25 years, if I make it that long, I'll be a different type of fish keeper. But I do know, more is not better in most cases. I'm not gonna say in every case,
Yeah.
but from what I'm seeing in most cases, more is not better. I've seen people with aquariums, 55 gallons on their kitchen dining room table, on their dining room table.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, but
that's no brainer.
I think part of it is like, again, that compulsive um behavior that we tend to have in this hobby where it's like, oh, okay, I have a tank for this. Now I want to keep these fish, so I'm going to set up another tank, and then I want to
Yeah,
keep these fish, and I want to set up another tank.
yeah,
And before you know it, it does get out of hand. Uh, and for me, what it was just kind of like you have to almost dedicate half of your day to do all the maintenance and make sure that if you're doing things right and you're doing right by your fish, you're going to end up spending a lot of your time doing the maintenance and stuff like that. But in my case, I was inputting all that work and for what? There was
yeah,
no real return on
yeah.
investment, time investment.
I
Uh,
agree.
and it's just kind of like even just personal time, like for my own health, having the time to be able to go for a walk or go to the gym or do
Yeah,
stuff that would be more health inducing, related stuff.
yeah,
All of a sudden, I didn't have time to do that stuff because the little bit of time that I had between family, work, I had to dedicate it to a hobby that became all too consuming.
yeah.
And
It took
and
over
it's
your life.
like, shit, do I really want to be doing this just for the sake of doing it? I don't. It probably wouldn't be a problem if I was doing it because it's a revenue source or something, something that you got to value and return. And for me, half the problem was even with the fish room, you have so much stuff you want to get done in so little time that the last thing you want to do is drag out a camera or set something up
Yeah, I
and
don't
then be pausing and go and turn around and explain what you're doing. And I tried it and that shit never worked for me.
know. I'm the type of person that once I get my mind set on doing stuff, I'm gonna do that until it gets done. I'm not gonna. So I tried that too. Oh, I forgot to get this shot. Oh, I forgot to get that shot. It
Yep.
took me like 2 hours to do something that should have took 15 minutes. Yeah, and I got other stuff I got to do. I can't do that. So, but yeah, I'm way different I've gone through a lot of phases. I went when I first started keeping fish way back in 2000. I was pretty much getting every fish I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Oh, that's cool. I get it. Oh, that's
Yep.
cool. I get it. Crowding tanks, cramming fish in the tanks that they didn't fit because I couldn't say no. Um, then I got into I got time went on. I took a little break. Then I started breeding angels. Angels is a fish I always wanted, but I always got monster fish instead because they were cool. And when I decided I was gonna get an aquarium, but I was gonna do it, just a display tank. I was gonna do angels, and then they started breeding, and I got the angel fish breeder bug, and that went great. That went great. That went great. I gotta admit that did go great, but it was the situation that I was in. I was in New Jersey. There was a whole lot of fish stores around, so I could offload these fish like that. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of people breeding fish, and the fish stores wanted locals, and they trusted me enough to have fish come to them on a regular basis. Here in Florida, everybody and their uncle is breeding angels. You know what I mean? So it's not really a good idea to just do a large angelfish breeding colony because you're not gonna unless you're selling online. Unless you're selling online.
Yeah, and I guess it wouldn't be so much of a problem for me, or not a problem. I think really what it boils down to is the justification to spend the money to air condition the garage if I had more access to a lot of the events and I didn't have to spend an entire day to drive out to attend these events. And because if you start, like, for example, if I want to go to Phoenix for a fish swap, well, which is normal, the day before you bag all your stuff and then you get out there, but it takes me 3.5 hours to drive up there, which means that I still need to have at least an hour and a half to set up for the event. So that means I got to leave 3.5. I gotta add to that time, the driving time, that I gotta leave a little bit earlier.
It's 5 hours.
That's already 5 hours there. Plus the events are usually 3 to 4 hours.
Yep.
And then you got to turn around. You got to pack, come back, and but when it's all said and done, you've invested, 16 hours of your day on an event for the weekend or something.
Yeah.
Now the other thing is, well, just get a hotel and come back the next day. Okay, but hotels nowadays are $100 a night. So whatever little bit of profit you made, it's right. And so you're basically doing it for the love of the sport. It's not, there isn't an economical sense. So, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just, I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm not willing to I don't want that part of the hobby. And I think also when you start seeing a lot of people burn out is because it's that reluctance to admit that you might be in a situation where you're over your head and you want to continue to push on. Hey, Donnie, you want to continue to push on and you want to continue to kind of prove to other people that you can do it, when in reality, the only person you need to prove anything is to yourself.
To yourself.
And because you stay on that path, you burn out and then you completely get out of the hobby and you're gone. Whereas if you're real with yourself and you go, okay, I'll take a step back. Let me enjoy the real reason why I got into the hobby in the first place, which was to enjoy maybe 2 or 3 tanks if you're used to having like 30, but get back to the enjoyment of the stuff and not having that pressure that, oh, I got to do all these water changes. It's just, I don't know. That's kind of where I find myself right now. And then I want to do something different too, though. I've always wanted to have the nano rimless tanks. That's a look that I personally have enjoyed. But I'm not going to go out and buy that equipment because it's like $150 for a 3-gallon tank. And it's kind of like, I don't see the justification on that. But the one thing that I did say is like, well, I got a shit ton of glass that I'm going to be getting rid of.
Yeah.
Why don't I repurpose these? I learned how to cut glass in the process, and now I can build exactly what I want and use that. And I can tinker with that. I can tinker. I set up, a few of those and keep them in a shelf. And that's what you mess around with. You get tired of it, you break it down, and then you do something different. And that's kind of where I think I'm regressing to, is to something like that. I got
you. I totally get what you're saying. And not to mention as far as YouTube goes, I think you found your niche, which is interviews. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So
I kind of like doing these, like this type of stuff
yeah,
where we talk about a topic or
yeah,
whatever. We don't do these quite as often because I think you and I have kind of agreed that we're not going to do them for the sake of doing them. You know, like
yeah.
where it's
And
like
you just
every week.
out there
Oh,
just talking, just blah
yeah.
blah.
We all, and if you go back and look at the, because this is only like the third or fourth one that you and I do together. I think it's fourth
Yeah,
one, but it's
yeah.
always been about something that you and I have found is like, oh shit, you know what?
Interesting to
We should
talk
talk
about.
about
Yeah,
we should talk about this because we haven't really heard people talking about it, or it's a topic that you and I find interesting or whatever.
yeah.
But and I kind of like that too. But yeah, as far as the interviews, one of the things that I've really enjoyed with the Mexicalian is the opportunity to get to know people that are just coming into the hobby, or not that they're coming into the hobby, they're coming into this section of it, which is the, I guess, the content creating of it, where
Yeah.
they finally decide um that they're going to start posting stuff on here, and they're having a channel wanting to grow. It says, Jorge, you are the uncle community organizer of Fish Tube, bringing people together in channel. uh yeah,
Auntie
you
K.
know. uh
No, I'm glad I met Auntie K. I met her on a live stream,
oh,
and
okay.
and she's met all of you guys through that. So I think it was cool that I see
And
her here.
yeah, and you know, and it's something that I've really enjoyed. As you, the little that you've gotten to know me, I like to talk. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoy getting to meet people. You kind of are in the same boat as I am, um, but I don't know. It's something that I really like, and apparently, you know, people have liked it because they continue to come back to those interviews.
Yeah.
And
No,
and then and I think also what I purposely did, I don't necessarily heavily focus on the fish keeping side of it because most of us as hobbyists, a lot of that stuff we'll put out in videos that we do, you know, stuff like that. So there's not too much where to dig into that because unless it's something very specific, like you found out a specific way to breed a fish that is difficult to breed, and then you know those are one-offs where you have somebody, a guest that you bring on, and you can talk about that all the you know all the whole time about the ins and outs of that. Um, but more than anything else, it's kind of getting to know the people and to why they decided to do this. What kind of what? Because I don't know about you, but this is not the only thing I enjoy doing. There's a lot of
hell
other
no.
stuff.
Egg to the nah. You should see what my YouTube queue looks like. It don't see fish all the time. It don't see fish all the time. Yeah, Pimple Butt. If he was scraping the bottom of the barrel, like you say, you'd see your ugly mug up here instead. He ain't there yet. He ain't that desperate. Don't worry, your time will come. But so let's check this out. Let me ask you this: if you had, because I think about this on a regular basis, if you had the opportunity, is there a particular type of fish keeping or a particular fish that you're more than okay with being like, you know what? Damn, all this is going away. I'm switching over to keeping this type of fish this type of way. But realistically, right now, it's impossible. Is there's a particular fish that I guarantee you, if it came available to me, you wouldn't see this would change. This would probably, I don't know, that would stay the same, but I would have another one with
Well,
a
if I had to take a guess, because I've heard you talk about it, it's the snakehead.
the dwarf snakeheads, the China's,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
would. I ain't
But
gonna lie to you.
for me, I still want to do it, and I think every single new tank that I set up, I'm gonna do it. But then I end up doing something different. But I still want to do a large tank.
Uh-huh.
Um,
You had
you
one.
know, and, uh,
You had a large tank.
I know I did, but you know, I don't think I'm gonna get. I don't think I'll ever have a tank bigger than 4 feet, just because I can move that by myself. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to carry it, but
Mhm.
I can prop it, I can scoot it, I can, you know, leverage it and whatever, and get it to where it needs to go by myself. Because
So like a 190. Was it no two
no,
210? 210s are like big 90 gallons.
yeah, I don't know if I could. I think the 120 or 125 that I have, I don't forget. I keep forgetting what it is. It's
Yeah.
a glass tank. That's the limit. That's
Yeah.
I had to move that sucker myself. I managed to do it, but I don't care to move it again. And it's an easy 2-person move, but the problem
Yeah.
is
Who,
you have
who
to
you gonna
bother
call?
somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's not even that, but people are busy. I know
Yeah.
everybody says, "Oh, I'll come over and help you," and yeah, I get that, and I've offered that up to friends of mine, but you don't want. At least I don't want to inconvenience anybody just for something that's I consider dumb. Moving a tank. It
Yeah.
would be different if I had to do some moving out of the house where I'm having to move
Mhm.
furniture and stuff like that. Because then
Yeah.
you're
No,
at
I
least
get you. I get
so that's why. But what I've always wanted to do is I still want to do my Tetra community tank with all the smaller Tetras, and that's something I still definitely. That's why I keep people think I'm joking around when people said have it like Jesse had the 300-gallon or whatever it was that he built. He goes, "What should I put in there?" I said, "God, put like 1,000 neon Tetras in there," and that's to me that would be like the ideal tank. Now, the
So,
other thing though, it gets
mhm.
expensive real quick too, because I started pricing it out. You would think that small fish are relatively inexpensive, but unless you can get them wholesale, you're going to be paying about
Yeah.
$3 per fish. That's on inexpensive neons, and
Yeah.
and it's going to take a lot of neons to be able to look like they have anything bigger than a 20-gallon.
Yeah. So, so saying that, are you gonna have? Is that's not the room? That's not the room you're gonna do the fish room in that you're in now, right?
Probably this is it,
So
and I don't have a
behind
lot
you,
of area now.
yeah. So behind you, I assume you're gonna have your rack of whatchamacallit tanks, skate tanks behind you, right?
I where that mirror is at right there, I think is the
Uh-huh.
only little spot that I'm gonna have in here that I can maybe able to do something. So that's like a little bookshelf. That either I'm gonna have to build or I'm gonna have to find the ideal bookshelf to do that. There's I'm gonna show you my dirty dishes, but this I could put something real like a little shallow tank in here
Yep.
that I
Okay.
can get away with doing that. But I think that's pretty much it as far as having aquariums in here. I might be able to pull off a saltwater tank display tank in the living room, but that's only going to be like a 36-inch tank that I
Yeah.
already have.
Yeah.
That I already
So
have it.
so
So
what I'm saying is you could do that tank with the tetras.
yeah,
So
no,
okay.
yeah,
So that's
that's what I'm doing. But you asked me what if there was one thing that I would love to do. Yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely a big tank with a lot of little small fish.
And what's the biggest
The
tank you
only
have right
person
now?
that I've seen do anything resembling that would probably be Rachel O'Leary on her channel, where she
Oh,
had, I think there were like 120s or something like that, and she had a bunch of little rasboras in there. And I saw that and I thought, man, that is the coolest thing. And the reason I like that is because the interaction of the behavior of the fish is very different
oh
when they
yeah,
get a lot more volume of water. And for a small fish, you give them that much room, it's like throwing them in a well, that's not ever going to be like a pond. But the reality is those fish live on the shore anyways, so they don't really go out too far to begin
yeah.
with.
So Dan from Consolidated, when you walk into the thing, he has a 125 with like nano, or I call them nano fish, but
Yeah.
they're like tetras and stuff like that. And I think the biggest fish he has in there is like a dwarf gourami. Everything
Hmm.
else is that size all the way down to I think he has a baddest in there or something like that. Hey, what's up? How you doing? That's the first time I seen that one. Then we'll check this guy out. I think that's the first time.
Oh,
Um,
Manuel.
yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. He does a lot of live streams where he's out and about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he does a lot of gaming stuff on his live streams.
Oh, he does a lot of live streams. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Damn, there's a lot of live streams up there. Holy moly, guacamole.
baddies are tiny. Yeah, they're pretty small, but you see, like, and that's the other thing. If I go with those smaller, like the little shallow tanks, that would be like the ideal fish to keep in there because it's you only
Yeah.
need one fish.
Yeah. Yeah. What about betas?
I got to the point now where I'm more interested on the wild type kind of bettas.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I asked is because one of the fish that I'm gonna be selling here are betas, and it's gonna be wild type betas, placots, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, alien betas. So I've been looking into that. Some of the more fancier ones. Because I don't see the point in having the same betas that you can get at Petco and stuff like that. I
Well,
just it's pointless.
I saw that yellow one you got.
Yeah, and that I got because I couldn't help myself. I ain't gonna lie to you,
What
like
is it?
that, huh?
Is it considered a koi or what is it considered?
Yeah, placot, yellow koi placot. So, hold on, wait, let me show you this guy. I saw it and I was like, that is the most interesting looking fish I ever seen in my life. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's polka dots.
Yeah, and I figured once I saw it was yellow, I said, yeah, he couldn't help
Yeah,
himself.
yeah, it's yellow. You know I'm gonna. But look, he has polka dots.
Yeah.
Where is it? Come here. And I was like, bro, he looks like he should be in a circus. So yeah,
It's funny because again, I don't know if you want to call it a change, but it's the taste for the fish that you start keeping, how it evolves the longer you're in the hobby.
yeah, it evolved.
And
You're right.
because I remember I used to look at bettas and I always used to love the big flowing fins. But
Now,
the
yeah,
longer I've been in now, the more
yep,
I like the spade tails
yep,
or the wild type. And I
yeah,
think
I agree with you.
a lot of the rumors of those fish being jumpers was from those type of fish, the ones that are actually agile. Because I've never seen like a crown tail or a double moon, double half moon or whatever. I've never seen those jump out of an aquarium.
I've had a long fin beta jump.
Yeah.
I've had. Um, the I tell you what beta fish I know will definitely jump. If you put if you put a male and a female beta fish side by side with no top,
Oh,
that
yeah.
female will definitely jump. They're little hussies. The female is always trying to get to the male, like she's serious. Like, God damn, girl. You know what I'm saying? Have a little self-respect. I've had a lot of when I was breeding for that challenge. I
Yeah.
had female dragon betas, and they kept jumping over to try to get to the male. Yeah,
Well, and I know the whole thing with the jumping fish. I seldom get fish that jump out, but I think there's something to the fact of having floating plants in your aquariums that really kind of limits that from happening.
yeah,
And
limit that. Yeah,
it's not that the fish um are blocked by the leaves. I think they're able to distinguish where the limit is. It's kind of like it gives them a visual aid that if you go beyond this point, you're no longer in the tank. And because I used to have rocket killifish, and those are notorious jumpers, but I used to have a whole bunch of frog bait in that tank. And I never, and then again, you know that you don't put it all the way. I used to keep it at least an inch and a half um, of of um, of space from the top. Why
yeah.
fuck? I'm
You're
struggling
getting old.
today.
You're getting
Yeah, I
old.
know.
Getting
I'm
old.
getting old on camera.
Yeah,
That's the worst
literally.
part.
You've aged 3 years since we've been on. But
This shit keeps getting wider and wider the longer I continue to do this.
yeah, I definitely think that change in your fish keeping all comes with experience. I unfortunately new people um get caught up in keeping the fish that I just don't believe are right for them. And I mean, you can't like tell people what to do, what fish to get. All you can do is be like, give them a suggestion and let them go about their way and learn from themselves. But
Well, but I think those are all it's all part of growth. I think the problem falls in where you're not willing to acknowledge that you're
yeah,
in over your head. That's where the problem is. Where you want to continue to fight because you're afraid of what people might think if you decide to change that that ideology.
And
And
I
and I
don't think it's over their head. I just think it's like, oh, look at this is what Corey keeps, so that's what I'm gonna keep. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And this is what Rachel O'Leary keeps, so this is what I'm gonna keep. And then you talk to them. You talk to them. I tell you because I've seen them at the fish stores, and I've seen them in the chat, where you speak to them, and they happen to be very excited to have conversations about like cichlids, or they happen to have a whole lot of they really love to talk about live bearers. And I'm like, what do you keep now? Oh, I keep shrimp and stuff, and I'm like, why? Like, I just don't understand that. Like, it just, but and it's because they see their favorite YouTuber keeping that fish. So
No, yeah.
yeah, and they come around. They come around. But I
Yeah.
think it's a natural progression. But with social media, it was different from when I was coming up because I had to. It wasn't like I got influenced by other people because there was no social media, and I didn't have fish friends.
Oh shit.
So,
That took you off stage.
but now I think social media has a lot to do with what people decide to keep and how they change their ideas of what fish keeping is. Social media is big on that. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
I feel
think
like
there's
it's a lot.
definitely a
Yeah.
big influence. Again, it's because it all depends on if you don't have a clear perspective as to what you want to do, you could easily fall in one of those traps where, like you said, keeping up with the Jones. That
Yeah.
is real easy to do.
Mhm.
And if you're not very aware of what you're doing, that also happens because you just allow yourself to think, "Oh, I'm going to do this." I don't know. Like right now, there's a channel of a young man, probably in his late teens, and I see him and I go, "Oh, I know who he's watching. I know who he's watching because of the stuff that he's doing.
Yeah.
He's getting all these monster fish, and he's trying to put them in swimming pools and the little kiddie pools, and he calls himself a rescue, and it's like, oh dude, you're headed for
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah.
You're getting way ahead of yourself, and it's like he wants to get all these red tail catfish. God, I can't freaking speak. But
Yeah. Right. So I love that. I love that. Loves to trip.
oh, okay, getting pretty
Oh, that's
good at.
RJ. Okay,
Oh yeah, that's
RJ.
RJ.
I'm getting pretty good at not knowing what I'm doing.
And you see that stuff, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out for you. There's a couple of kids up here in Arizona who started a, I don't know what's this whole thing with fish rescues. I think they obviously watching Ohio Fish Rescue. That's but
No,
it
they do.
is
They're watching other. It's. I think it's. They think that they can get free fish for one, and secondly, I think they see certain channels and they always do video. I've rescued betas. No,
no,
I hate.
these guys are not rescuing. They're rescuing all the monster fish, and
Yeah,
I'm thinking there's a reason why that person could not get rid of that fish. I mean, yeah, there's a market where people want those fish and they'll seek those fish, but it's a real we're already in a niche community as it is. And it gets even smaller and smaller depending on what you choose to do. Monster fish is definitely one of those things where unless you're like Aquarium Domain that can build out these monster fish tanks, people really or Jesse who build out that pond that he has in the back, you really have no business messing around with monster fish because you're going to get to a point where they're going to outgrow anything you have. And then what? You know, but
I always thought the phrase monster fish was kind of funny because, to be honest with you, anything more than 10 inches, people call monster fish. But some of these fish, if you were trying to catch them out, in the, you didn't throw it back. It's not big enough. You know what I mean?
yeah.
like,
Well,
so,
I think the term gained some popularity because of the fishing show, the Monster River Fish, and but
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Like
It's just
tank busters, I've never seen it. Like people say, "Oh, it's a tank buster. It's a tank buster." I've never seen a fish bust a tank. I'm just
Where did
sorry, I've
that where
never
did
seen
that
it.
terminology come from? Who's
That's been around for longer than I've been on YouTube. So
yeah.
over 7 years, tank busters. And I was like, I've never seen a fish actually bust a tank with its head. And if you have a fish that can do it, you might have it in such a too small of a tank. You know what I mean? I don't know. You seen an iridescent shark bust a crack a tank from the inside out?
I don't know.
And what
I
size
I
aquarium?
I don't keep anything bigger than the probably electric blue Acara anyways. So I don't know. I've never. I find those. You know what it is. I think it's part of my hoarding complexion complex. I mean, is that I can't watch an aquarium with just one fish. You
I
know,
can. Oh, I
I know,
love it.
I
I
know,
love it.
and I don't. I need to have multiple fish in it, and that's probably one of the main reasons why I've never gotten into anything big, because I just think it's like people that keep the Midases, that you have to keep them by themselves
Yeah,
because they'll tear up, or fishy biz that keeps that Starry Night. It's a beautiful fish. Don't get me wrong, they are
yeah,
gorgeous fish, but they're just not for me because I don't want to keep them alone. I don't want to do the one fish in a tank. That's not me.
yeah. So I like singles, like one fish in a tank, because I really like the interactions that I get with the fish when there's only one in the tank. Or I like single species tank where all the fish are the same. That's why one
Oh
day,
yeah, no, that's different. That's a single species. That's I'm talking one single fish, like a flower horn. A
yeah,
flower
just like
horn,
see, Donnie, me and Donnie are like this. Me and Donnie are like this.
yeah.
But
Uh, uh,
I think
but
yeah,
people that keep like a flower horn, and I really don't find the fascination of those fish. I know people do. I know you have
you
one.
need to come
Uh,
over my house and see Lucky. She's
yeah,
cool as hell. She
yeah.
splashes people when she don't like them. You know what I mean? She tries to bite people's fingers when she's like she has so much personality.
And I get
And-
that, but
yeah,
I just can't do the one fish. My idea, I guess, what it probably really is growing up. Most of the aquariums that I saw had multiple fish in them.
I get it.
Whether it was at the fish store or a doctor's office or a Chinese restaurant, they always had multiple fish in them. And I think that's where, to me, that's what an aquarium was supposed to look like. So having just one fish, um, I just don't, I can't, I just can't. And I get it. I mean, like people that just keep an Oscar or a flower
Yeah,
horn or that Starry
good.
Night. I
I
get
got
it. And I know they're interactive fish because you can
yeah.
interact with them, but
I
just not
got a
my cup of tea.
I got a female flower horn and a female red Texas fader. I love them too, but they can't be with other fish.
Hmm.
So there's two fish that are this big that can't be with anybody else. So they have to be in their own tanks.
See, I
Um,
used to be like Mel,
what?
where she's saying that nothing could make her do saltwater. I've kind of been on that for the longest time. But I think more than anything else is I know my personality, that I wouldn't be able to just do a Fowler tank because that's what everybody says. Just do a Fowler tank, the live
Fish
rock
only?
and fish only.
Yeah.
And I know that's not going to happen. I know that's not going to
I
happen
can.
because
I can.
uh, I know you could because you could keep
But
one fish by itself. But
well, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to salt water, a lot of those fish that you buy at the fish store are not reef safe. A lot of them are not.
yeah,
Most of them are not. There's very
no,
few that are technically reef safe that you can buy at the fish
there's
store
clownfish.
at a regular basis. Yeah, clownfish, tangs, um, those you find at the fish store at a regular basis. But you try. Oh, well, I want to get this fish on it. Yeah, well, you can't get that because it's going to eat up all your coral. So now you have just a tank full of Play-Doh. I I happen to I think saltwater is cool and all that. That's great. Don't get me wrong. But I have one fish in mind that I want to do a saltwater tank on. Just one. Just one. I'm not telling you, I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna be a surprise. Surprise.
Yeah. Well, I've seen them where they do the. That's the other thing. It's like, why would you want to get a grouper? Because those things get bigger than you. But I've seen people keep them.
I used to have a bumblebee grouper.
Mm.
That sucker got big. It outgrew a 125. Every time you fed him, you had to get a mop because he was so big. I had to give him to the museum. He was so big, you open up the top to feed him, and he would come out and just and there'd be water everywhere. He got big quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The biggest thing for me is, and it's not so much. It is pricey, but the thing is, it depends how you. I don't know. Well, yeah, it can get pretty pricey. There's a lot more. It's like when you get into betas, everything's more expensive because it's all beta specific.
yeah,
Food is more expensive. Water conditioners are more expensive, because they'll
beta
have a
water.
whole.
You gotta buy
They'll have.
beta water.
Yeah, they have all these gimmicks that they're trying to market after that.
When I
And I
when I start selling, betas, y'all need to buy my beta water. It's gonna be special water just for betas.
in a
Trust
water
me.
bottle.
Yeah, it's
Remember
gonna
when
look
that? Yeah, remember when
kind of
that
like
was
this, but
like,
without with
what
a
do they
different.
call it? Black water or something
Yeah,
like that. It was kind of like, oh my god, we're really doing this. And I was surprised how much of that stuff was actually selling. That's the part that really got me.
yeah,
So I guess you can't
yeah.
hate because they figured out the marketing on it, and they
Here we
were.
go. I'm gonna show you my beta water. So beta water, y'all guys are gonna love it. Exclusive beta water from Aqua Funk Aquatics. Here.
The first product in the
This
market.
is the first. This is the first beta water that you can buy. There it is. There it is. Beta water. And it only
Why is
gonna
the C-
cost you
why is the seal on the
$14.99.
bottle already cracked? That's what I want to know.
Say what?
Why is the seal on the cap already cracked?
It's not yet. No, it's still good. It's still good. Beta water.
Why does it taste like
Exclusive.
chlorine?
It's like, yeah. But
Yeah, no, and that's the thing with that I do notice with saltwater. Gadgets are a thing. Gadgets, there's all sorts of gadgets and lights, and they really get carried away. So that's the only reason why I've kind of not wanted to step in that direction. But
uh-huh.
I know myself enough now that I'm going to try to figure out how to way to do like I do my freshwater, where it's not that not I'm not in there all the time.
Depending on the fish you get, though, it's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of when people complain all the time, it's too much work. It's too much work, or like experienced saltwater fish keepers make it out to be a big thing. No, no, what are you talking about? Zephyr Hills. This is exclusive Aqua Funk water, beta water. This is you can do a water change on your little beta boat with this.
From the Funk water spring, natural water spring.
Yeah, but I don't think salt water is as hard as it could be if you want it to be. But just a fish only tank is very simple to do.
Yeah. I don't know. That's like I said. I've the only reason I'm thinking about doing that is because I know my wife seems to really enjoy those fish, and
Yeah.
so I would, she said you can do. She already pointed out the area. She goes, you can have all this space to do one tank, but I don't want to get anything that big either. I think the one.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but like people, we're talking about change and stuff here, and it just came to mind that one of the things that I hear people say all the time is, yeah, I'm just gonna do fresh water for now, and then when I get good, I'm gonna do salt water, as if salt water is a more of a challenge than fresh water, which I happen to think no. All salt water is pretty much kept exactly the same. Fresh water is a whole lot different as far as what fish keep in different waters.
I think the intimidating factor is that you got to get the right salinity, and that takes equipment and instrumentation to figure it out, and because that's
And
that's the
you know,
one
we
thing
used, to, we used to do it back in the day with a little hydrometer, there's a little floaty. That's it. They used to have a thermometer that it had a thermometer and a salinity thing, so it would float in the water, and if it floated in the green, your salinity is good. And now
Oh,
at the
okay.
bottom I have the thermometer. So yeah, it's not. And then once you know how to do your salinity for one 5 gallon bucket, it's pretty much gonna generally always be the same. Temperature changes, but generally is always gonna be the same. So you can be like 5 gallon bucket takes this many scoops.
Well, and then I'll tell you what the other thing, at least for in my occasion, what I keep hearing is, oh, you need to have RO water,
Oh,
RODI water, and I've
so
heard people just do that straight from the tap. But
I did.
and
Yeah, I did.
okay, that's what you see, and I've heard that said, and it gets brought up, and people are like, "You're doing what? How dare you do tap water?" But I guarantee you, a lot of the fish stores, that's what they're doing. It's just tap water.
No, these days a lot of fish stores are doing RO water,
Uh,
RODI, and it's because so many people are buying it, so they have the
uh,
setup to do it, so they just use it. Trust me, when I was work, I sold so much water, and it's like, really, why these people just don't get a RODI thing off of Amazon? Like, why are you doing this? It's because they don't want to. Mia, what are you doing, Mama? Mia, hold up, let me get.
all right.
Come on,
Yeah.
big girl.
So, but I don't know. It's. I think here's the one thing though that I know gets
Yeah,
gets when it comes to saltwater tank, and I used to be on that too. It's like, oh no, well you have freshwater fish that are just as colorful, and yes and no, um, because you can get some crazy color in some of these saltwater fish. The other thing is the body shapes. They have some of the most unique body shapes when it comes to fish. People will always attribute African cichlids as being some of the more colorful, but they all look. At the end of the day, if you look at the body shape, it's the same fish. It's just the color patterns and whatever is on them that changes. But in saltwater,
yeah,
you have very unique looking fish, and the body shapes are all different. And that's what's kind of the appeal too. Though some of them look like little aliens.
yeah. So I don't know. I just when it comes to change and people changing their styles up, there's a lot of different reasons. Um, and I think I get mad when people crap on other people that are new in the hobby because of what they're doing, and then all the older guys, are like, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." Like, yo, give them a chance to find out where their place is. You know what I mean? They're not gonna always keep fish in this particular way.
Yeah.
They're gonna learn from their mistakes, just like we all did. We learned from our mistakes, even though someone probably told us, we still had to try it out anyway. So
Well,
I just feel,
even
huh?
now, people say you can't do this, and I'm like, yeah, well, let me see, let me try it. I mean, that's predominantly what I've with my whole fish experience has been is trying to do the stuff that people just say you can't do and see if it's true or not. Because what I found out relatively quick is that a lot of people are just say stuff for the sake of saying it, and they've never done it.
Oh,
They've
oh,
never they have never tried it. They had never done it. They're just saying it because so and so said it, and
yeah,
so and so said it. It's got to be true. Mm.
yeah. That honestly irritates the hell out of me because you're pretty much lying. People, you know me by now. When I say I really I really care about people not cheating other people, I feel like lying is a form of cheating somebody. These people have a problem. They're like, oh, I need to figure out how to take care of my fish. Oh, look at this. It has a lot of views. It has a thumbnail. It has a catchy title. And they go to that video, and then it's just you're listening to this guy say something, and they don't know. They just watch some other guy say something, and that's where I said they want personal opinions, and you're not giving them personal opinions. You're lying. They're lying. I know they're lying. A lot of people in the chat probably knows they're lying, but new people don't know that. That's where I get irritated from. I get so pissed about that. But I can't force people to do whatever. They can do whatever they want on their channel, but I ain't gonna support it. Don't ask me to come on your live stream. You liar.
What's it? Keith says regurgitation BS is rampant on the top. Yeah, but I think the longer that you start keeping fish, you start realizing who's kind of selling
Yeah,
snake oil and
yeah,
who's kind of unfortunately a lot of the legit channels are not even big channels. And that's probably because they kind of stuck to what they know and that's what they're doing. And I don't know. It's weird.
yeah, yeah. And that influences people to do crazy stuff with their aquariums, you know, or they
Yeah.
get hyped up in the community. The community is funny to me. Like a lot, it ain't no secret. I've always said it a bunch of times. The whole community of fish keeping and fish fam and stuff like that. I've watched people do stuff that they wouldn't normally do, and then they go back to the original, because that's what the community was doing as a whole. Um, and I was like, I mean, you can do what you want. Like it's a free country, you can do what you want. But I just go like, I know you're not that type of fish keeper. I can tell because I've known you for so long and we've talked and da 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 da. But you want to go along, with everybody, and it's just, I don't know, it's just frustrating because I know that they're upset and they're having problems, and it doesn't need to be because they're keeping the wrong fish. So it's frustrating to see that because it's like it's an easy fix. Don't keep that fish. I keep killing fish. There's one fish I keep killing. Stop getting the damn fish.
Well, that kind of happened to me in the beginning where I couldn't figure out angelfish, and angelfish are relatively easy to keep. But I don't know what it was. It could have been that the tanks were not necessarily as seasoned as they should have been. But that was the only fish that I killed because I had other fish in there and they were fine. It got to the point where I just, as much as I liked them, I just said I'm not keeping them anymore. And it wasn't
I,
until maybe last year or a couple of years ago that I finally came around again and said, you know what, I got to give these guys a try because my wife kept telling every time we'd go to the store, she goes, "Why don't you get these?" I was like, because I killed a ton of them. I don't know what it is, but and it didn't matter where I bought them from because that would be the other argument is probably where you were buying them. No, it didn't matter where I got them from. I was doing something definitely very wrong and I was just killing them. And it would be the only fish in the tank that would die. And so I just left it alone. And it wasn't until by circumstance that somebody gave me like 3 of them and I managed to keep them alive and they were thriving and doing. I was like, oh, okay. And then that's when I decided to start trying to breed them. And I eventually figured it out. It took me a while too. That was kind of interesting and challenging. And I learned a lot. And I learned that a lot of the stuff that you see out there is not as straightforward. There's a lot of information that is left on the cutting floor that they don't tell you. So even though they're trying to tell you how to breed them, they're not really giving you the insight on how to breed them.
yeah, I've tried. I think I've tried. Let me count. I tried at least 5 different methods of breeding angelfish. At least 5, that I've seen people do on YouTube, and they all seem a lot harder than they need to be. But that's just me. Like that's just me. You know. Uh. uh I think some people are just a cut are the way they do stuff. Certain methods are easier, for them to do. But for me, I've tried like 5 different ways
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. And then, it's a lot of this breeding process is a lot of trial and error. There are some basic guidelines out there you can follow, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out what's going to work for you based on the one thing where I always got tripped up on is the fact that when you have fry, you constantly have to be feeding them. I didn't have the time to do that stuff. So
Yeah,
I had to figure out a way where I can kind of pull that off. And even at that, I wasn't getting like when people decide like, well, you, for example, that was breeding tons of angelfish. Well, you know that if you wanted to have a high yield, you had to stay on top of the water changes and the feeding regimen.
yep,
And now you're going to have a bigger success because they do have big clutches. You're talking about probably 300 fish in one one spawn.
yeah,
And I was just happy that and I kept saying it, if I can get 20 out of that whole group, I'm good because what am I going to do with all the fish? And even then I was able to do it successfully that I still have a whole group of those guys that are sitting there that I got nothing, I got no place for them. And so, it's just, I don't know. If I ever go back to breeding, it's got to be when I'm definitely retired because what?
No, I'm reading a comment in my tank says I think
Oh,
all these breeders are full of. See, hey, y'all didn't notice that I read a lot better with my new
yeah,
glasses.
no, somebody, Sonny pointed it out. Have you guys noticed Funk's new spectacles?
Yeah. Basically, they're saying that never tell you the best real way to do stuff. Da, 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 da. Y'all would be. I'm telling you, you guys would be appalled. Just if you saw how people bred angelfish for real in mass quantities, they're not. It's not on YouTube. It is not on YouTube. I'm telling you right now. If you ever came down here, maybe I'll take you to a place, but they're real hush hush with it. You go to a farm where they breed angels, it's like a secret room that you won't get in. And a lot of times it's because they don't want nobody knowing how you do it, how they do it. And I'm telling you right now, y'all would be upset. So all these angels that y'all be buying, even the fancy ones at these big box stores, because a lot of these big box stores still get it from the same place. They came from whoo. Y'all be pissed. Y'all be pissed.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's again, this whole change stuff. I think it's just a normal part of 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 um of knowing yourself, of growing, I guess, and being honest with yourself. I think at the end of the day, it's if you're really honest with yourself, you allow change to happen.
Yeah.
If you're stubborn and you're fixated on something, you're gonna go down that road and
That's
crash and burn.
yeah, and that's you hit it on the head. If you're honest with yourself, it may not be, you may be like, hey, I'm gonna keep mutt guppies because you really like colorful guppies, and you don't have the money to spend on fancy guppies or the time to do. You just want to have these junkers just go in there and breed, and whatever comes out, you're fascinated to see what comes out. It's like Christmas, like, oh, what I got this time. Then be cool with that. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of times people are not honest with themselves, and they need to be a fancy guppy breeder, or they need to be a different type of fish keeper or something like that. Be happy. Hey, if mud guppies is your thing, be happy with it. Roll with the mud guppies. You know what I mean? Be the
Yeah.
mud guppy king of YouTube or something like that. But like you said, being
Well,
honest with
I
yourself.
think it is at the end of the day, it really boils down, especially on social media, because that's where you see it the most. Is being honest with yourself as to what you're trying to accomplish. Because how many times have you come across somebody say, "Oh, I don't care what people say. I'm going to do my own thing," but in reality, they're not doing their own thing. They're
No,
doing what people expect them to do or whatever they think they're going to do. That's going to garden them success.
yep.
Um,
Yep.
so, and then the reason you pick up on it because then not long after they say I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do, then they're upset that they're not seeing the results
Yeah, they're
that they
not seeing the
think they should
results.
be having.
Yeah.
Well, if that is the case, then maybe you're not necessarily doing exactly what you want to do. Because if you were doing exactly what you want to do, you wouldn't care
Yeah.
about the results. You wouldn't care about these other what do they call them? Analytics that happen because you're doing
Mhm.
what you want to do and you're happy with
Yeah.
that. But whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
dude,
what that's what, huh?
you think you want to wrap this up or?
Yeah, we go ahead and wrap it up. Why we always yelling ha 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 ha? I've been reading our comments.
Oh, is that what he posted or what?
No, what did he say? Oh, that's Aqua Funk. I thought it was his older, more mature brother because of the glasses.
No, because you're not acting up. See, that's the thing that people don't understand that you can be serious when you want to be serious, and
Don't nobody want
people.
that.
Well, I mean, right now
Yeah.
we were doing it where you can stay on topic and talk about what we were talking about. But with that being said, I guess anything else you wanted to add to the conversation?
No, that's it. Just For those of you who are new to the hobby, I don't really see anybody in the chat that is all that new to the hobby, to be honest with you. Um, but if you're watching this and you're new to the hobby, you don't have to follow the trends. Do your own thing. If convicts is your thing, get convicts. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
regardless of what people say,
Yeah,
because people will trash on them all the time. But
yeah,
if that's what you like, you know,
yeah,
that's what you like.
yeah. Anyway, oh, as Berto says, he is. Hey, man, do what you want to do. You know what I mean? Don't let nobody judge you. Just since Auntie K just since April. Auntie K loves her live birds, her platies and stuff.
Mhm.
You know. But yeah, that's it for me. That's it. I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us again today. I'll be back on Thursday around the same time. I think it'll actually be 4 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Uh, I am. I've been working on trying to get these guys to come on, but we've had to reschedule a couple of times, and then something else happened. But I don't know if you guys have been watching the Wet Floor podcast, which is composed of Billy Aqualust and Uncle Joe's Fish Shed Jody, and they've been taking on topics and stuff like that. But each one of them has their own channel, so I'm gonna have Uncle Joe on, and he's gonna talk about a little bit of some projects that he's working on, which I think is pretty interesting. Um, it's kind of, I guess, for those of you guys who were around when Get Gills was around, it sounds like it's something similar to that. And but he'll tell us a little bit more about it. So
So
we'll see you guys on Thursday. Yeah, what's up?
no, that channel you're talking about, those two guys, I
Yeah,
definitely enjoy. I think they're gonna get way better as time goes on. They're
yeah.
new to YouTube, but I think their dynamic is pretty good. I think their banter is pretty good. I can't wait till they get more comfortable and they come into their own as far as their channel. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that sets them apart from everybody else. They both are in the same place while they're doing
Yeah,
their
yes, yeah. That's what I liked about it. They're in the same. They're not in split screen. And
yeah.
I've been looking for that around. If I knew somebody here that was into aquariums and we had a good, rapport and they wanted to be on, I would definitely do that. But there ain't nobody out here. So
Donnie wants to know how's the foods doing.
they're doing great, buddy. They're doing real great. I'm fact I just did a video about my grow out Jack Dempsey's and how I'm not feeding them too much meaty stuff and they're growing fast, like off of this stuff. The triple and quadruple in a short time off of my pellets. So yeah, I
All
like it.
right.
I like it a
Well,
lot.
guys, thank you guys again. Like I said, and we'll see you guys on Thursday if all goes well. See you later.
Later.
Let me hit the end button.